I came here from the Washington D.C. metropolitan area, and we moved here in 1999. We found the house we wanted in summer of 1998, and because we had been wanting to leave the metropolitan area. I was still working. I was still willing to work and commute. And once we found a house that August, we went back and put our house on the market. Our house sold in 2 weeks, but we had to wait about 2.5, 3 months for the property down here for everything to come together. So we moved in January of 1999.
And what brought you here?
We had been coming through this area for several years. We owned a timeshare in Shenandoah Crossing. So we were down here at least 4 or 5 times a year, spending time. Over those period of years, we began to realize that maybe we should think about moving. And it was during that trip, during August of 1998, that we sat down with Century 21 Real Estate that week. We must have looked at 25 houses, and the last house we looked at was the one that checked off all the boxes.
And that was in Orange.
Right, I'm right across the DC line. I'm right across the county line. I can see the CVS from my kitchen window.
You're close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So Orange is your hometown now.
Orange is my hometown. We've lived here longer than we've lived anywhere else in our lives.
Yeah. What do you remember about Orange back in the early 2000s, late 1990s?
Late 1990s, early 2000s. One of the things that struck me about Orange, I mean, to us, it was like, and I don't mean this in a demeaning way, I mean it in a positive way. It's like being in Mayberry. Yeah, it's a very laid back, quiet place. People were very, and still are, very friendly. In the DC area, if you speak to someone on the street, they might look at you, they might grunt or something like that. But here they actually say, "Good morning," So yeah, that's one of the things that struck me. And for I think the second year, I started substituting in the high school. And I was setting up my room one morning, because I was still commuting back and forth. But some days I could be here. I was setting my room up in the high school, and this young African-American kid walks in. He says, "Who are you?" And he saw my name on the board. "Who are you, Mr. Crump?" And I said, "I'm the substitute for today." He said, "You're a man, and you're black." I said, "Yeah, I think so." He said, "I've never seen a black male substitute before." And this was over 20 years ago. I'm quite sure it's not a rare thing now. But that gave me a sense of, where I was, not in a negative way, but it was kind of a reality thing, Yeah.
But you've been down here full time without commuting since when?
I retired in 2014. Once I retired in 2014, it gave me the time and to look around and see things, and became involved in the Historical Society, became involved in NAACP, began to do some things with local churches down here. So I couldn't do that before because I just was not here enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So from 2014 on, you've been active with the African American Historical Society here?
African American Historical Society and 2 or 3 local churches. Yeah.
So you were president of the OCAAHS from when to when?
I was president from about 2016 until this year. So I was president about 6 years. Prior to that, I was the treasurer. What was I, the treasurer? Yeah, I was the secretary for a couple years.
Right.
Yeah.
What was that experience like?
It was good. I enjoy it. I'm still a part of the board. As a matter of fact, now I'm their correspondence secretary. But it was good. It helped me a lot in that it allowed me to be exposed more so to the history of this area, because that board has people on it that are, they know this area. Several of them were born here, grew up here, and spent the major part of their lives here. So I was around people, and still am around people, that know so much about this area.
Have you experienced any racial difficulty here?
Not difficulties, no. No one has called me a derogatory name. No one has disrespected me. So I can say with all sincerity that no, I have not experienced any racial difficulties in the 23 years we've been in Orange, Virginia. As a matter of fact, I think I said people for the most part are cordial. Now, what's going on in their heads, I do not know, but for the most part, people are cordial.
Good. One of the questions I'm asking everybody is that what do you envision the town of Orange to look like, be like 20, 50, 100 years from now?
Well, I think Orange is currently wrestling with, lack of a better word, its image, and I do believe that we are re-examining some things, history-wise and things like that. And so, having said that, I do believe that Orange is still going to be a quiet town, but I think it's going to be more inclusive, lack of a better term. There's a lot of discussion, and has been a lot of discussion for the past few years concerning the Confederate statue on in the courthouse yard, and I'm one that I don't think they need to destroy the statue. I think it just needs to be placed somewhere else, because the county courthouse is not a place where a Confederate soldier memorial should be. That's just my opinion.
There may be room for compromise on that issue.
I'm hoping that there is, and I think that the thing that needs to happen is that people need to sit down and talk and listen to each other. I really don't think much is going to be accomplished. It's going to happen until people on both sides of the issue sit down and talk it through. And up to this point, I don't think that has really happened yet. I think people are still at odds and holding on firmly to their positions. So maybe one day it would happen. And to be honest with you, if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world.
When you came here in 1999, if this had happened yet, but 50 years ago, I know there were a lot of businesses here in the town of Orange, and now there are a few. And any ideas on why that happened and what can be done about it?
From talking to people who were here when those businesses were here, they have told me, and several people have told me this, that on any given weekend, if you came to downtown Orange, you would have to, there's so many people. The streets were crowded because there were department stores on Main Street, and there were 2 or 3 grocery stores, and auto dealerships were all over the place. And for some reason, that no longer exists. And I think, obviously, these companies left. I don't know what the Chamber of Commerce can do about that. I don't know what. I don't get into offering companies certain things for them to come into town. But so I don't really know the answer to that, but I do know that it must have been very interesting to see that. I don't miss that because I come from a large town, and it's refreshing for me to walk around a town where there's very little traffic, comparatively speaking. And if I need to drive a few miles to go to a bigger grocery store, I'm willing to do that. But for the most part, the basics are here. We have a hardware store. We have clinics. We have CVS. So I really don't wish for that to come back. Although I do understand the people who witnessed that wishing for it to come back. Yeah.
You're someone who has your pulse on the African American population here in the town of Orange. How do you feel African Americans feel about the town today?
I think African Americans, generally speaking, feel better about the town today than they felt about it probably maybe a quarter century ago, because they can see the positive move for the town to, and all the powers that be, all everything concerned, everything connected to be a little more inclusive. And that's why I really do feel that's going to continue to happen. I really do think it's going to happen. Yeah. It's happening already. And I think it's going to continue to happen. Sure. Yeah. I love Orange. Obviously, like I said, we've lived here longer than we've lived any place else in our lives. And this was one of those decisions that we have not regretted 1 second, leaving the metropolitan D.C. area to come to Orange, a.k.a. Mayberry.